Shall we
do it again?
Shall we?
Oh,
Back up?
look,
Undo,
we're
undo,
on.
undo,
It's
undo.
live. It's live now. See, you're all like, if you're tuning in now, you just caught us in the fact that we've been talking for 5 minutes, and me, dumbass that I am, and the reason we have the parental discretion is I forgot to press the go button.
So,
All right, let's back up and
let's take it. Okay,
Control Z.
Oh man, let's go back.
You
to
missed
the
out,
beginning.
kids. We were talking about the leather goddess of Phobos and all those sort of text-based adventure games, but we were off air, so you missed it. So
Nice.
you should have been there.
Okay.
It was amazing.
We're alive. It's happening.
Okay.
Yes.
Right,
So,
fall back.
Apologies if you were sitting there for 6 minutes wondering what is going on. Yes, because I glanced up at the corner of my screen and then I realized, hang on, it still says go live.
The little red light was not flashing.
Man,
Oh, well.
off air. So sorry to my co-hosts.
That all makes it entertaining.
Okay, let's go back and go back to the top of the script, everyone, and clear breath. And okay, welcome to Lightbox, the official podcast of Animate, the West Australian Animation Association. Whether you're an aspiring animator, a seasoned professional, or simply a fan of the magic world of animation, you've come to the right place. And my name is Silly Tanya.
Hi, I'm David O'Connell.
Ah.
I'm Lindsay Flay.
And we'll be your guide on this morning. See, I'm out. I'm out already.
Unless you're in the States.
On this monthly journey into the heart of the animation industry in Western Australia. Each month, Lightbox will bring you the latest and greatest in animation news, from upcoming films and shows to industry discussions that will inspire and empower the talented animators who call Western Australia home. We'll also delve into the creative processes, challenges faced by our local animators as they work tirelessly to bring their unique visions to life. Ooh. So buckle up and get ready to be amazed as we explore the vibrant, ever-evolving world of West Australian animation. This is Lightbox, and we're just getting started. We wish to acknowledge and honour the traditional custodians of the land we are streaming from, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. We recognise and celebrate their enduring culture, the rich tapestry of Indigenous arts, and the invaluable contributions they make to the vibrancy and cultural diversity of this city and region.
Okay, before we dive into today's content, would like to issue a quick advisory warning. While our channel is generally suitable for most audiences, there may be occasions when we delve into topics or showcase content that might not be appropriate for younger viewers. We strive to create engaging and enjoyable content for everyone, but please be advised that some material may not be suitable for children. So parental discretion is advised, and we encourage you to review the content before sharing it with younger audiences. Our goal is to provide a safe and enjoyable viewing experience for all, and we appreciate your understanding and support. Alrighty. Now, Tanya, do you want to bring our beautiful radio faces on the TV? Sweet.
Yes,
there we go.
There we go. They can see us properly. Oh, how embarrassment.
It's live, folks. It's live.
That's right. It's like live radio or television.
Well,
yeah. Except, the internet offers you the option of lynching the people afterwards. It's really cool.
There's no laid back bubble bath scenes. But yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the news, shall we? Because
indeed.
The 330, of course,
yes.
is our first point of call. The 330 is the yearly animation competition. You've got 3 months to produce 30 seconds of awesome animation based off keyword that you'll get at the beginning of April.
Yes.
I think so.
Yes. Registrations are now open. through wanimate.org.au or any of our social media sites. So LinkedIn, Facebook, the Facebook group is probably our most active area, and of course our Discord. So the Discord, which is not called, what is the name of the Discord, Lindsay?
It is called. Hang on, Discord. Wanimate.
Oh, we got comments already.
Hey.
Yeah, it's asking if it started yet because it was dead air for the DJ.
See, we were just pranking you.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah, so we have the Wanimate Discord channel. There's a kind of general channel in that, and oh yes.
What's the Wanimate channel called now in the Discord?
Oh.
And we should have links to that in our social media as well. So if you're using Discord, it's actually a good place to chat and talk shop and stuff like that. So
we'll pop links in the social media. We'll pop links in our YouTube channels.
Yeah.
So
all of that. Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Cool. The other news is we were just talking about the winners of the Annies.
Yes.
And, yes. So the best animated feature went to
Across the Spider-Verse for general. So and for independent.
So Dave's happy.
Yeah, I am.
And international.
You're happy with
Robot Dreams. Robot Dreams was definitely my favorite film last year. So yeah.
And we'll be talking about that a bit later on in coming soon as well.
Yeah, because it's getting an official release.
It's getting general release, yeah, which is cool.
Okay.
Best series for young audiences was Hilda, and for older audiences was voted Blue-Eyed Samurai.
And totally love Hilda. It's a great series. So yes. We're now past the point where we talked to before we realized the cameras were off. So yay! Okay, we're into new part of the show and we can get excited about it. That's
cool.
Okay. So stuff that's coming soon.
Coming soon. Oh, tons of stuff.
I guess we should say there's a few things series that are already screening that are being released on a continuous basis. So the new series of the season of the Bad Batch is being released, and Delicious in Dungeon is the other one that is being released on Netflix, which is quite a good anime.
I haven't started it yet. It is on my to watch list. So
it's Iron Chef meets Dungeons and Dragons. So that's just my ballpark. Exactly.
So okay. So does that mean they eat all the monsters they kill in the dungeon? Or
yes, they do.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh well, gelatinous cube for afters, then, eh? Wow.
Yeah. It's interesting. All right. So coming soon. So those are the things that are out at the moment. But coming soon. Well, on March the 7th, we've got as part of the continual Pixar screening that's being done by many cinemas, showing stuff that was released in 2020 and a lot of people missed because that's cinemas for reasons. We've got Luca on March the 7th. Coming up with the Palestine Film Festival the same day to March 7th to 17th. There's a couple of interesting things. There's the short Zoo, which is animated, and there's a documentary Lied, sorry, I'm mispronouncing it, which has segments of it animated because it's a history of the city and it goes into alternative history as well. So
that's pretty cool.
That could be very interesting, Coming March the 14th, MS Gundam Seed Freedom. So that marks the 20th anniversary for Gundam Seed. So one of the most popular Gundam franchises in Asia at the moment. So that should be interesting. Invincible, Season 2, Part 2 is coming March the 14th on Amazon. X-Men 97 is coming March 20th on Disney+. And
good heavens.
Yeah, we've already seen the cultural wars happening for that, so let's see how that goes.
Oh yes.
People are bemoaning the animation of Rogue, so yeah.
I'm aware. I've seen it. I've heard it. It's yeah.
Yeah. The Casa Grande movie is on March 22nd on Netflix.
I'm really surprised. I haven't heard of this TV series, The Casa Grandes, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's it definitely looks like something that I quite get into. So yeah.
March 28th, Kung Fu Panda 4. So it could be really interesting.
I genuinely like the series.
Same here.
Overall. Yeah. So
I mean, it's certainly helped by
it goes all right.
Yeah. It was certainly helped by the voice talent of Jack Black. So yeah.
And it can't be any worse than Toy Story 4.
No.
This is what we're going to get into.
Not that we don't like Toy Story.
I believe you mean Oscar winner Toy Story 4 there, Tanya.
Oh, really? We should talk about that.
We're talking the Oscars, are we? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, it's not so much a bad film as why are we having this fourth film? I thought the third one was such a great send-off.
We can
resurrect it again.
Hold on, Liz. We're going to get into this. We're going to get into this so much.
Toy Story Genesis. Yeah.
So much.
Back to it. Great Teacher Otazaku,
Okay.
March 31st of Netflix. Not sure entirely what that is all about. It seems to be a delinquent teacher teaching delinquents. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
Richard the Stork and the Mystery of the Great Jewel, which is a sequel, on April the 4th. More kids orientated. The Tiger Apprentice on April the 4th as well, both being released in cinemas.
Which I kind of like the style of.
Yeah, it does look interesting, doesn't it? Okay, April 11th, Robot Dreams is getting a general release. So
cool.
Robot Dreams, yes. I really loved it. Like, if you're going to go see one film this year, go see Robot Dreams.
Actually, I think there's a few animated films in this one I'm going to go see, because Spy X Family Code White on April the 18th is also getting a limited release. So that's going to be quite interesting if you've enjoyed
I know that. I know that it has its fans, so yeah.
Yeah, I think myself and Anna are going to go see it during the time, and she's quite excited about it.
Yeah.
So, whereas me, I'm excited by that, and yeah, I'll go see Gundam in the cinema as well. And the Knuckles series is premiering on April 26th on Paramount.
Is that the Sonic and Knuckles?
Yeah. See how we go.
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Never did get over that first game of Sonic the Hedgehog. All the other ones were never quite the same as the very original one.
The first one is my favorite, though.
Yeah.
Though Sonic 2 has its diehard fans, I just find Tails getting in the way of your gameplay exceptionally annoying. So
Sega trying very hard to make its own Mario Brothers, basically. And not quite getting there.
Oh, close enough.
Well, sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of. Anyway.
Yes. So that's the news and things coming up. Have we seen anything? Like, is there anything? Normally I've seen lots of stuff. I will continue saying Carol and the End of the World. Definitely.
I finally caught up with the rest of Carol and the End of the World. Interesting. It definitely grew on me. I think it's not a bad little entry there, and I like its tone. And what I like about this particular post-apocalyptic thing is that it doesn't end in complete catastrophe. I mean, it will end in complete catastrophe, but most of the human race seems to be handling it really well, which is unusual for an end of the world sort of film. Usually there's fires and riots and all that nonsense going on. But everyone's kind of like, you know what? I've got a bucket list to do, and off they go. Even the sea pirates have a bucket list.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, everyone's so nice and friendly deep down inside. I'm thinking, that doesn't quite ring true, but it's a nice change. And I like the sort of meditative approach to it. And I like how Carol's connecting to the world. As you mentioned to me many months ago, Tanya, it's actually nice how that happens. It's a really nice change. It's really elegant. But like, you've got to be patient, kids. It's good.
Yeah, I'm not sure. No, that's a statement that could cause generational warfare.
It's got a different feel and a different voice to it that you don't normally see in animation. A lot of animation's very juvenile, I find. Even stuff I really like. And this felt a little more, I don't know, someone having their first old person moment or something. So
there's definitely something about the slow meandering pace of it. And in the same way that is why you love those classic westerns, the slow, or especially the spaghetti westerns. Yeah.
It's characters finding themselves in what feels a very unforced way a lot of the time. So I like it for that.
Yeah, I've been backpedaling anime for me.
Sorry.
No, I've been back to anime for me. So I've been watching stuff from 5 years ago or thereabouts. So I finally caught up with Attack on Titan, and the end of that. Yeah, that's interesting.
What's your first impressions?
I can't really talk about the last season because there's a significant character change that happens, and every season just kind of breaks the reality it sets up the season before. Season 5 does it in such a grand way that you're going, wow, okay, did it break the show doing that? I like it. It's a brave piece. I don't know if it's
genuinely edgy.
But it's
boundaries.
trying to be edgy, but it's also genuinely edgy at the same time. It straddles the line quite well. So yeah, I think it sits on the good side.
Yeah, okay. Because I heard a few people carry on about how fascistic it was. I was thinking, that's not the vibes I'm getting off it at all. It's more nihilistic, if anything.
No, it is completely nihilistic.
Yeah.
When you hit the rumbling, it is completely nihilistic.
Not to watch if you're having a bad day.
No. The whole what it says about the cycle of war and power is it's not coming from a happy place. It really isn't.
Interesting. I caught up with Nimona.
Oh, cool.
Nimona's great.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Does fall into the trap, is that the right word, of the forced happy ending a little bit, or the satisfying moral victory type thing, which I thought, okay.
That is in the graphic novel, but
true. But after coming out of Carol and a few other more mature pieces, felt this feels YA all of a sudden again. The sort of easy.
It's definitely in that realm. Is it Indy Stevenson's first book?
Not sure. I don't know the original source, but overall, I thought it was pretty cool. Very energetic, a little millennial, but that's fine. It's good. It's definitely worth your time.
Definitely worth your time.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's jump on to the great debate topic. All right. There's likely going to be blood in the water. Blood in the water. Of course, we're going to talk about Pixar. And when Dame said, "Hey Tanya, we don't have a topic this month yet. What are we going to talk about?" And I said, "What about the rise and fall of the mighty Pixar?" And
is it actually a fall?
A title.
More like an adjustment, really.
Look, have you? Do you feel like they're not living up to Pixar-ness?
Well, if you consider Pixar's first 11 films was on a sort of amazing, unending break of original runaway hits, Yeah, I guess that's a pretty hard one that I don't think anybody could really hold up to. Really, I do feel they've been corporatized and folded into the corporate master that is Disney, though, because I always had the impression that while they were very much inspired by Disney and very much pickled in its sort of culture and approach to animation, they were still their own selves. And it seems like they've sort of become part of just another branded adjunct of the Disney media machine, really. I mean, some of their later films now are actually getting back to where they sort of were, like things like Soul, I thought was really good, and Seeing Red, Turning Red was brilliant. So that sort of stuff was really good, but it's hard to. I mean, it's not a Brave New World anymore. So CGI films are kind of like the standard go-to for most studios to kind of print money, really, or try to. And I think how many Shrek films have there been, or Despicable Me, or any of all that stuff? It's definitely.
Is it 5 Shrek films? 5?
Oh, at least. I mean, the last and spin-offs like Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
Oh well,
but
yeah.
Having said that, Puss in Boots: Last Wish was fantastic.
Very good.
An amazing film. Yeah.
I was very impressed with that. That was actually worth its time. And Into the Spider-Verse was really good as well. So there's some great stuff doing the rounds. So yeah. Just, definitely. I guess for a lot of people and with streaming, it's not quite as special as it used to be.
That's the thing, I think. And I think
that's the problem with that critique.
Yeah. I think Disney's kind of made a cross for its own back in that regard. Okay. Its model is, we want you to see it at the cinemas. We're going to release it at the cinemas. You'll go see it there. But we also want you to see it on this special streaming service that we'll release it to very quickly. And you can see that. So it's taking it both ways and trying to double dip for the money, and it's just not working as a model.
No.
And that, I think, is possibly one of the main anchors around Pixar's neck at the moment, and films in Disney films in general.
Well, that would be everything in Disney's menu, I should think.
The fast turnaround to streaming is just ridiculously fast now. Like way too fast to even, like there's no such thing as the revival screening or having a good run that goes for 18 months anymore. There's none of that. There's just
And with Disney, you can't even pick it up in physical media anymore. So you don't even have that special sort of.
True.
Well, that was such an integral part of their model, their business model too. The old carefully dribbled out, endless string of this year's classic is, this obscure film from the 1950s. Oh, Cinderella. Gosh, that's a genuine classic, says old Disney. It's put out one of these films a year, or like re-releasing them in little batches or singles, and they maintain that mystique. And now all that's gone out the window. It's just like your first impression of looking at a streaming service now is that it looks very indistinguishable from, say, a fried chicken shop. Yeah. It all looks the same up there on those boards, and a lot of it isn't, but it just feels the same. It's got that sameness to it, and there's like, oh my god, there's so many, I don't know what to do. It's like there's that paralysis, and you don't get the rummaging that you get in, say, a video shop. It's just all the same in this kind of app. So that's the thing I find difficult. I go to watch a film and it's like, ugh, too hard.
Did the relationship with Disney oversaturate that Disney-ness? That one movie a year that Disney had. Did it really did it ruin the renaissance for Disney?
Let's switch it back to Pixar. What Disney acquired Pixar? 2006.
2006, yeah.
Yep. So what have we got? We've got Cars, Ratatouille, WALL-E, Up, and Toy Story 3. Are the next films out of that list?
Yes.
So that's pretty solid.
It's a pretty solid. They went up, yeah.
So, what was it? So, did the 5-picture deal with Disney happen before or after Toy Story?
It happened before Toy Story. That was really kind of what was floating Pixar as a company.
I thought that was part of their funding model. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. So in 1986, they became fully independent, but they were looking at hardware and software production as well as.
This is a good opportunity to bring up the shorts.
Working towards getting a feature film. So we've skipped some of the early history, so apologies for those.
No. Sorry, we leapt into it. Go back.
Okay, should we totally backtrack and go through the rest of it?
Let's talk about history.
I think so.
Okay, so let's go through the early years. So Pixar's weird because it kind of arose out of an idea more than anything else. So you've got the New York Institute of Technology's Computer Graphics Lab with the idea to create the world's first computer animated feature film. So they kind of end up chatting to both Lucas and Coppola, and this ends up with Lucas approaching a group of 6 of the lab, and they actually jump ship to form the graphics group within Lucasfilm in 1979. So they're doing their thing, inventing quite wondrous new technology and working towards animated segments. So they're responsible for things like the Genesis sequence in Wrath of Khan and the stained glass golem in Young Sherlock Holmes. And if you haven't seen that sequence, please do. It is just jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
It
1980
blew people away in the 80s. Beginning of the late 80s.
Sorry?
Beginning of the late 80s.
Yeah. Okay. So that's in 83 the name Pixar becomes attached to part of the group, and also you get that time in that mid to late 80s where Lucas is kind of shutting up shop. Return of the Jedi's just finished. No one's really sure what's going to happen with Star Wars going forward. Lucasfilm going forward and suffering some financial difficulties.
He's making 3 more Star Wars films this year.
Yeah, is he?
Well,
that's a while away.
In 1983, that was totally the rumor. There was definitely going to be more Star Wars films.
We're into Ewoks Carnival of Courage here, aren't we?
Oh yes, the Star Wars that doesn't exist in the Star Wars.
On Sindel's name, David O'Connell, it is the Caravan of Courage. Jeez. Oh.
Sorry.
There was a second one, wasn't there? Yeah. Caravan of Courage
and the Battle for Endor.
That's right.
Yes, we're into that. We're into Ewoks and we're into Droids, the animated series.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, that. Jeez.
Yeah.
Cool. Interestingly enough, a lot of the Ewoks from the Ewok series appeared in Forces of Destiny short series.
Cool.
And so they are back in canon. Those Ewoks. Yeah. And
they got a recent Black Series release as well, so that was pretty cool. Okay, so 1986, they're basically a fully independent company, competing in computer animation work, which is predominantly in advertising. They've got hardware and image computer that they're releasing, and they're also developing software, as well as you got there, producing shorts. But I think that's mainly off the books work for them.
Yeah, sort of. They were definitely doing advertising.
Yeah, they're definitely doing advertising, but
I had a job.
The shorts they're producing, I think, are not making money. And I don't think
they weren't. They were mostly R&D exercises. Yeah. I do recall having to match a Toys R Us ad as part of a Toys R Us ad campaign when I was working at Animal Logic in the mid-90s. And that was a Pixar commercial that we had to match the look of, that our clients wanted us to get. And I had the rather fun job of trying to match a beautiful RenderMan render in grotty old Softimage scanline. So that was a bit of a challenge. But so they were doing all that sort of stuff when I was in the field in the mid-90s, working away at high-end commercials. And there was always this buzz and excitement about Pixar because they had pretty much single-handedly changed the whole CGI industry. If you can find old docos on what was produced in the 80s or 70s on computer graphics, you'll find it pretty hard to find because it's all been overshadowed by Pixar. So everything used to be like, floating geometries on grids and all those sort of simple primitive shapes and all that sort of stuff. And it was all very cute and kind of, not that engaging unless you were into it, which I guess I was at the time. And then suddenly out of nowhere comes Luxo Jr. And it was just orders of magnitude beyond anything anyone else had done in terms of simplicity. It was like, it looked superficially simplistic, but the technology in it was clearly quite amazing. And the animation and the emotions and the expressiveness of it was just made everything look like pale cardboard cutouts. It made everything else look terrible. And so, all these little films and documentaries would end with this little desk lamp bouncing around saying, oh, this is the future. And it was like, no, actually, it wasn't only the future. There was no room for anything else. And it just became that. So we were always keeping an eye out. We were using RenderMan back at Animalogic right at the beginning, in the early 90s, mid 90s. So Pixar was always this high-tech R&D company. And like most companies, it was dreaming of making its first movie. And then we heard the rumors that it was actually doing that. And the excitement was like, oh man, if anyone's going to pull it off, it's going to be these guys. And when it finally came out, we were mightily impressed with the sheer scale of work that they had worked on. But it was a little underwhelming at the same time because it looked so plain and a little out of date already. And quite simply, it was for the simple reason, like, we could keep developing this thing, but frankly, we got to get this thing out. So like, development stops. Just make the fucking thing,
Yeah, I think that was their third bite of the cherry too, because there was the talk of them producing something, a monkey film.
Really?
Production Japan in the mid '80s, and the technology wasn't there.
No.
Something else as well, which I can't remember at the moment. I've got to actually grab some sort of corporate biography of Pixar because it sounds fascinating. I mean, geez,
it is.
Steve Jobs and Chuck E. Cheese are all involved in these guys' life, and it's like, what the hell?
It was very interesting. It was very much part of that 90s Wired magazine era, entrepreneurial. The internet is brand spanking new. Optimism is high. I mean, if you were keeping up with that hilariously, unintentionally funny magazine called Wired magazine, if you ever read that in the 90s, it would just get, oh my God, it's just nothing but a string of memes now. If you look at it, it's, get ready for the 20-year eternal boom, or lots of exhortations about how the United States would cyberpunk its mastery over everyone else. All this sort of crap would go on until one day 2 aircraft flew into the Twin Towers and all that stopped dead, really. Ooh. And, the unwashed basically came back and basically, kicked them all in the teeth, effectively. Changed the whole political, social, and economic landscape. But during that time, when the internet was still young and fresh and, I guess, virginal and pure, unsullied by whatever it is now, Pixar was this shining beacon on the hill that everybody was sort of hanging out to see what they were going to come up with. And essentially, even before they actually made that film, they were still pretty much defining how our industry worked. RenderMan was the ultimate renderer at the time. It was just this warm, fuzzy renderer that looked gorgeous.
But they were going broke doing it. Like
most of the internet was going broke.
They had to.
None of it was sustainable.
Yeah, 1990 they had to get rid of everything but their animation division. So hardware or development sort of went out the window, and there was just, I think it was 4 or 6 guys, left, and they were just working basically on the upcoming picture deal with Disney, which the first of those was Toy Story. So, after that, 1996 when they went public, they outsold Netscape. So,
Netscape?
Netscape, yeah, there's big money there.
Wow. Yeah.
When we're talking about the Wired memes, there we go.
Netscape would have been the other one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wired was unintentionally funny. I had to hunt down some old magazines and just see how they hold up. I think I finally stopped taking them even vaguely seriously when they started off with screaming headlines about push media. Way, it's like, it's so amazing. 3-inch headlines, and the headlines continued down. If opened the page up, oh, it's still going. And then they got into the article, and the article turned out to be, it's this thing called banner ads. Advertising on the internet. What the? And suddenly the first banner ads turned up. All went sour from there. And there's this magazine saying it's the most awesome thing ever. It's like, oh.
All right, so 96 it went public.
In the bin.
That's kind of lasted until 2006, when Disney ended up buying them out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Apparently because the Disney head at the time, was that Iger?
Something like that.
Anyway, but yeah, the story is the Disney head at the time went to Hong Kong Disney and looked at the parade there, and of the Disney characters in the last 10 years, all of them were Pixar. So yeah, we kind of need that. So yeah.
But culturally, Pixar's always been very close to Disney.
Yeah, there's
a little more mature than Disney, I think, and a bit more 21st century now. But definitely,
there's been a good and bad relationship. I mean, Disney sort of bailed them out of trouble with that picture deal at the beginning, but Disney also is going to Disney, and there was friction as far as the release went.
Well.
Yeah.
Bob Iger took it over in 2005.
Oh, yeah.
And Michael Eisner before. So, yeah.
In a sense, being in Disney is like being inside a gelatinous cube. It's just a question of when you get dissolved away.
Well, yeah. And a lot of people, I still... when they first got bought, my first impression was that Disney were going to just completely roll Pixar into their... They've kept the Pixar branding, interestingly enough. I thought they were going to completely just absorb them and just say these are all Disney films, which is interesting that they didn't. There was a movement at the time because there was separate studios like Disney Toons and the Disney Animation Studio and Pixar all operating around the same time. So, but yeah, it's really strange that they absorbed them but kept their own independent branding.
I think it's good that they did, quite frankly, because that's their point of difference. Pixar is, despite the close relationship to Disney, is different than a Disney film. God, I can't even word how it is different than a Disney film, but it really does feel different.
They're a lot more, what's the word? Much more deeper, I thought.
Yeah.
Inside Out versus, say, some of the stuff coming out of Disney.
It generally has a bit more
it's the same formula.
Disney really struggled to find its feet in the 3D realm as well. So with Disney Dinosaur, Meet the Robinsons, up until Bolt, I think Disney were really still having a hard time getting a 3D film out there.
Yeah.
Which is strange because but it's strange because they'd already tanked the 2D department by then. It's like they were shutting down the remote animation studios in the early 2000s, and then Disney's buyout of Pixar kind of cemented 3D as the only type of animation that was being done within the Disney studios until Princess and the Frog came out. So
yeah, if any company was going to survive being eaten by Disney, it would have been Pixar. And at the time when they got acquired, it did feel like if anyone's going to survive this, it's going to be Pixar. And some of us were imagining that Pixar might actually like take over them in terms of culture and stuff like that. But I guess that's like trying to infiltrate and take over the Catholic Church. It's just not going to happen. It's very set in its ways. And it's not just animation either. It's theme parks and navies and hotels, and those characters need their upholstery reupholstered every now and then. So as a result, we now have a string of 3D remakes of all their classic animations. So that's what it is. It's a
actually in news, the guy who was responsible for driving that initiative has now left Disney. So
yeah, did he take the movies with him?
No.
And our memories of them? No. Okay.
And we still got a few more to come, I think.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Disney's the only one to blame for that. No. I think we're in a very risk-averse economy as far as cinema goes. And we're looking at IPs or something that's got brand recognition already baked into it to be released. So we're seeing a lot of sequels. We're seeing a lot of adaptions. We're seeing a lot of remakes. And I don't think that's fertile ground, but I can understand it.
No, it's like I think that whole model's starting to fall to bits a bit. I think.
Yeah.
And sorry, just got a house guest here. But yeah, it's I'm kind of hoping that films like Barbie and Dune and even Oppenheimer and stuff like that start to break that up a little bit more, and people rediscover the old-fashioned movie. Seems to be a good year for it anyway, so I'm hoping it'll filter through animation.
Though I've been watching a few breakdowns of Barbie, talking about how Barbie was all done in camera and there's no CG in Barbie. There is there is so much CG in Barbie.
Yes.
There's always CG in Barbie, because technically color grading and just shooting on shooting on digital is essentially technically CGI.
Technically that makes every film a CG film.
That's right. Every film is a CGI film. It's just that some films are photocopied and some are drawn. If you know what I mean. It's like basic compositing and grading is CGI effectively. Yeah. Oh wow.
Okay, so what do we got? How many did we say? There's like 23 films. Is that?
Oh god, I can't recall.
I'll have to sit down and count them someday.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 24, 27. Not including Inside Out 2, Elio, and Toy Story 5.
So 27 films. We've got 18 Academy Awards, 48 nominations, and 10 Best Animated Features out of that list. So that's pretty solid.
Some of the choices for Best Academy Awards, though, I'm really, really surprised about. Like, this is definitely coming down to personal taste now from this point on. But
Soul, are you going about Soul?
I am going on about Soul. Jeez, because Wolfwalkers, it was up against. I'm like, how do you lose against Soul with Wolfwalkers? Come on, Academy, get better.
And Onward, I honestly thought that was a Disney film. I didn't realize that was Pixar, because it didn't feel very Pixar.
Okay. So Lynn's Onward is I kind of like. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, but it felt shallow and trite. And what's going on?
Of course, the D&D nerds at the table here are going to argue with you about that.
I didn't mind that aspect of it at all, but it just felt. Walked into that one. It's just so relentlessly middle American. It just made me want to kind of cringe. It felt a bit like what's that dinosaur film they made in the late 90s, early noughties? Disney made
Disney's Dinosaur.
It was Dinosaur. It was called Dinosaur. Yeah, that's right. That was. I was like, oh yeah, dinosaurs with no behinds, and they're all speaking. Yeah, it's just like And somehow, we're going to find a happy new paradise after the asteroids hit. Like, I don't think so. And just short-circuit itself to get a happy ending out of that particular film. And I just felt the same sort of dynamics and story decisions were being made and onward. It just
at least the original Dinosaur series ended with them all dying.
Yeah, that was okay. Nice work, but wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also a Disney series.
Yeah, actually, true. So
Yes.
yeah.
But yeah, like there's definitely some interesting. They tap into a lot of stuff. Pixar do, and their films, when they hit, they really hit. When they miss, they abysmally hit and miss. Like Cars 2 is pretty much definitively the worst Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Cars 2 is basically the straight-to-video release, effectively.
Right.
That's what it is. And Planes is the other straight-to-video release.
Well,
If you know what I mean.
Planes was not a Pixar movie. Planes was a Disney Toons movie.
Oh, really?
And yes.
Oh, well, that makes sense then. That's,
And I never saw it, actually.
No, I
can't
didn't
say
see it
that
either.
I've
reviewed it.
There's a lot of Disney films I haven't seen, and they're all the straight-to-video ones.
Interestingly enough, of the sports movie genres, Cars 3 is probably one of the best sports movies of all time. Like,
Is that the
it's
one
weird.
when they're in the... Hang on.
Up there with Rocky, I'd say. Oh, okay. I saw that one.
No, is that... yeah.
The Cars 3 was the one where Lightning McQueen is old hat, retired.
That's right.
And he trains up the new and up and comer. It definitely feels like, and didn't Creed follow up that?
Yeah, it's pretty much Creed. Yeah.
Yeah. So nice job, Creed. You copied Cars 3.
Ouch. That's right.
Ooh.
Yeah, obsolescence was the main theme, wasn't it? Yeah, that was actually not bad. Forget the first two, the last one. That's yeah.
No, it's genuinely a good film. Because it was a Cars film that followed on from Cars 2. Yeah, it's really, really strange. Luca is generally not well recognized, but I'd say Luca is one of my favorite Pixar movies overall.
I looked at it and I thought, this could really appeal.
No, it's good. It's a good film. It reads queer as well, very much so. So that's actually...
I don't want to say that's the reason I like it, because
it might have some crossover there.
Rolling with a stereotype.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the masculine characters you see in most films are
technically
intimacy. But once upon a time there was a lot more male-to-male intimacy amongst heteros.
Yes,
but you'd have to go back a century to find it. And if you look at characters like Sam and Frodo, that's an example of that. The Batman to your main character, in a sense, your sidekick, wingman, whatever. And there's a sort of very intimate relationship in there that's brotherly love, I suppose, in them their olden days, and that was quite a sincere, genuine thing. So when I look at Luca, I'm sort of seeing elements of that, but we'll have to see it, check it out. But the actual idea of them living under the sea and avoiding the land monsters, I thought was pretty fun.
Yeah,
and all the bits that fall
hiding their true identity while trying to experience life. Yeah, it's queer coded.
Well, that's definitely queer coding, and it wouldn't just be queer coding. There'd be anyone that's had to hide undercover for the last 1,000 years.
It's very You're correct, but it's very easy.
Yeah. But
back when the patriarchy was much more confident of itself and much less self-conscious, that sort of male-to-male relationship was much more open.
I find it interesting that across there's several films that genuinely appear low in the rankings for Pixar movies, but I'd say are great films on their own, like A Bug's Life. It's an early film, it's not as polished. Is it their second film?
It's second film. Second
film.
feature. Well, it's the
So-
Seven Samurai, basically, with a twist.
Yeah, it absolutely is the Seven Samurai.
And
it's
the
a
grasshopper is a fantastic villain. It's
Yeah.
the old ant. It's the old ant and the grasshopper story, but told like the Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of cool. Very clever.
It's very, very cool. But then there's films that I actually don't like that genuinely people really, really love, and I can't see it. Like I'm going to say it out loud. Ratatouille. Like
Yeah, I get that.
I don't understand. Like
Hmm.
yeah, great. The best thing about Ratatouille is the Raccoonie reference and everywhere all at once.
Yeah, it's got some really nice moments, but you start to thinking, where's this going and what's it about?
Yeah.
I think, what's the point of all this? I couldn't quite work it out.
I'm surprised with your review of Soul, actually, Lindsay.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, there were bits of it that I thought, okay, the old Freaky Friday routine being done, and some of the was it the pre-life rather than the afterlife felt very 1940s modernism, like quarter modernism.
Yeah.
Have you seen that old Brit film, A Matter of Life and Death?
No.
Ah, right. It's got David Niven in. It's about some British airman, David Niven, falls out of his plane, or rather, he's reporting that it's being shot down. And one of the Wrens at base is listening to him speaking his dying words over the radio. And she's, they've had a whole string of planes get shot down that night, and he's just one of them. And anyway, what happens, he wakes up on a beach the next morning, and he's accidentally fallen off the muster for the dead. And it's all about him, like the powers of heaven trying to get him back up. And they have a court case about getting him properly admitted into the afterlife while various interests in Earth fight for his defense. It's a weird film. It's very straight after the Second World War. The whole Anglo-American alliance thing is very much top-notch. It's a strange film. You should check it out. And when I saw Soul, I'm thinking, oh my God, we're back here again. This is weird. Except it's 21st century version. So, yeah. There's some interesting moments in it, like discovering Trent Reznor in the credits for the soundtrack. That was pretty weird.
Yeah.
But beautiful soundtrack. And the jazz and all that stuff works really well. So I didn't mind Soul at all. There were bits of it I thought, yeah, this isn't for me really. But overall, yeah, it was all right. I didn't not like it. It was pretty good. Interesting premise. Felt like it's part of the Inside Out school of making psychological films that are very symbolic and very part of that thing. So, yeah, it's good. Worth your time.
Is anyone going to defend Lightyear and Elemental? Has anyone seen Lightyear?
I haven't seen Elemental.
Seen Lightyear, and I've seen Elemental.
Lightyear, I get it, but no.
No. Again, it's like Cars 4.5. Why are we here again? It's like, no. The premise is weird. I mean, I like the idea of the premise, but
yeah.
This is the film that little Andy got into. Doesn't feel like it. I would have imagined little Andy would have been getting into something more like the original Star Wars. This felt strangely generic. And I was wondering, why is this even here? I couldn't work it out.
Completely reliant on the appeal of a cat robot.
Yeah. Yeah, it just felt so contrived. I just couldn't get into it at all.
That being said, the COVID pandemic movies, Soul, Luca, and Turning Red are pretty good across the board. Soul, I'd say, is the worst of the three, but
Luca looks really cool.
Luca is great. Luca is
Elemental?
amazing.
Okay.
Turning
Again,
Red.
Oh, Turning Red's excellent.
Turning Red's fantastic, yeah.
I do like Turning Red. The kaiju stuff at the end. Oops, spoilers. The stuff at the end I thought was a bit. Now we're pushing a good idea a little too far. But up to that point, I like the touch that they have a boy band acting as the song.
Yeah, it's the Spielberg school of thought. If I've got the audience up to this point, I can push it a bit further without breaking it. And if I can do that,
I bridged too far, kids. I bridged too far.
No, I can't. I was on board for it.
Yeah, it was
yeah,
okay.
I'm okay.
It was all right, but I think they probably could have handled it a bit better. But anyway, but yeah, it's really good. The first half of it's excellent. It's not really made for sort of a middle-aged bloke like myself, but I totally got the whole adolescent thing and all the pressures of being an adolescent. It was really good.
And are we looking forward to anything that's coming out for the upcoming? Because we got, what is it? Inside Out 2, Elio, which is by the writer of Coco, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Elio looks interesting. But
it could be, yeah. It's an original property, so yeah, that would be good.
Well, of those upcoming,
give it the time of day. Yeah.
Of those upcoming films, Inside Out 2 is the standout for me.
Yeah,
definitely. Like, it's the one that feels like it has a continuation. Yes, emotional, following a girl hitting puberty and then suddenly having to deal with new emotions and stuff like that. Yeah. Will it tread any of the same territory as Turning Red?
Probably. I assume there's got to be some similar ground.
Yeah.
So,
except it won't involve red pandas. It'll involve funny people in your head.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I thought the whole premise was really quite interesting. Very 21st century, I might add. It's sort of in keeping of where parenthood is right now. So that was good.
Right. Which one are you talking about? Inside Out.
It's like Inside Out. Yeah.
Yeah. Inside Out, like, there's definitely, and there's some moments in there, like some awesomely emotional moments in Inside Out, and it really, really, for a film that's about feelings, it really, really nails it, I think. So,
and they're really quite subtle, like all your memories are tinged by different feelings, which I thought was a really nice message to put out there. And a really profound one as well. So that was good.
Okay.
But yeah, naturally...
Oh, sorry, go for it.
I'm naturally resistant to sequels because, usually they're just retreads, but usually the Pixar sequels develop and take something somewhere.
Toy Story 5.
Oh, there's a 5 coming? Oh.
There's a 5 coming, yeah.
The Zombies Return. They're going to have Tim Allen in there?
Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
Buzz Lightyear being
recycled. Just sounded so... they finished it perfectly on 3. 3. It was the perfect arc. Yeah. And 4's a good film. It's a necessary film, but it's solid.
It's a good film. As Dave says, but why is it here? We don't know. It's
Oh, we do.
Really did. Yeah.
Money.
Finance, money,
Box
rent,
Yeah.
real estate. Yeah.
True. But I don't know. What would you say is the most overrated of the Star Wars films? Star Wars films. Pixar films. Star Wars films. I can see in my brain. Overrated is of the Pixar films.
Oh, hang on. What's the title? Don't forget it.
While you're thinking, I'm going to throw Up out there.
Up? It was weird, but I didn't mind it so much.
Like, Up had some good moments. Doug the dog, great.
Yeah. The whole idea of growing old and losing your partner.
That first 5 minutes alone just wrecks you.
Yeah, that's
pretty good.
That as a short film by itself is amazing. And then I don't give a crap about the rest of the film.
It's got a weird ending where they kill off their villain.
That first 5 minutes, it's like, how do you? Okay, we're good.
They really set the bar in that first 5 minutes and weren't able to rise to it.
It was the wrong way round. I have a funny feeling we should have seen that sequence at the end when he's realizing his dreams are all wrong and he should be in the here and now, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And they killed a villain off at the end, which I thought was so unlike Disney. I mean, apart from Syndrome, of course, from The Incredibles. But having the guy disappear into the jungle from an airship was like, oh. And I remember the audience reaction. That was like, whoa, what happened here? Pixar.
Hold on. You Clayton in Tarzan definitely has a death.
Yeah, but
we're talking Disney deaths.
But
Yeah.
it's just the way he got dispatched seems quite. It felt like an 80s action film death, not a Pixar death. Pixar death is a tragedy or a well-deserved one. This felt a bit. The guy's a bit misleading, misguided, and he's a bit of a dingbat. But death penalty? Don't think so. Seemed a bit extreme. But anyway, overrated. Ooh.
Yeah, that's really hard to.
That's a toughie because all the ones that didn't quite make it got shot down in flames thoroughly. Really. Finding Dory might be a candidate, perhaps.
What?
But
yeah,
it's the octopus that makes it. Everything else about it, like a fish driving it.
Hank is an amazing character. Technically brilliant, like in terms of its animation rig. Yeah, like what they did to create Hank is fantastic.
But a fish driving a van? No, sorry. I don't think so.
That fish can talk whale as well. So
yeah, it's just like they lost me on that one. Well, see, I didn't mind that so much, but yeah, it just got a bit stupid. But yeah, so Finding Dory would, I think, have to be that one because I found the stupid overshadowed all the good stuff.
I can't make a call. Sorry, guys. I just can't.
Ooh. So what are you thinking, Tanya?
Well, my call for overrated is up. Definitely gets a lot of recognition. The other one, WALL-E, maybe. Like I just find WALL-E pretty boring.
I don't find it boring. I find it a little problematic. Like the fat slobs of outer space come back to Earth to resume being fat slobs on Earth and junking the place again. It's like, well, if you know what I mean.
Supposedly,
it's setting up this whole premise.
They'd learned a lesson by then.
No, it's humanity. We don't learn sport.
No, it's like they're too busy normalizing and humanizing the villain effectively.
Wow. I thought just mentioning it as the as a little bit overrated was.
No. I get it. I understand where you're coming from with WALL-E, and I think there's an element of truth to that. But yeah, there's some really nice moments about it, like the lack of dialogue. I think was really good for me, and it just reminded me of old classic animation where most animations or the outside ones with speaking parts didn't have dialogue, and that was how they were international. They could go anywhere, and suddenly there's WALL-E doing the old-fashioned way of doing animation. But yeah, I don't know. When they get to the captain, and I mean, I love the first mate, who was essentially a giant steering wheel. I thought that was genius, and with a Hal eyeball in the middle. So yeah, I totally get that. But
okay. Yeah. Well, what about the opposite? The films that were generally recognized as being the worst. What's the redeeming features of them? And is there one? Like, if I start off this one again, I'm going to say The Good Dinosaur. There's definitely some awesome character design in that. Like character design alone, I loved The Good Dinosaur for that reason.
I thought the premise was very clever, but I watched it and felt very unsatisfied on the big screen. Just felt like
Onward. We've already discussed that myself and Tanya are kind of in the sweet zone for that. So
we're definitely the audience, and I understand why others are outside of that audience.
Yeah.
But we kind of grew up wanting that sort of Wizard Van art, so
we still want that Wizard Van art. Why do you reckon I've got a black car now?
Oh God, paint away.
Okay. Is this from Onward or The Good Dinosaur?
Onward.
Onward.
We're talking about van art. It's got to be Onward, doesn't it?
Yes.
Surprised you didn't get a Sandman.
Sandman panel vans.
Yeah. Because in my high school, the only people that played role-playing were the Bogans.
Oh yeah.
All the supposedly nerdy kids were either in the school band or busy working around the clock to get into UWA. They were very orthodox, shall we say?
There's a big difference between a nerd and a geek. Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho. Yeah. But The Good Dinosaur, yeah, good premise, some great parts in it, but I always felt the dinosaurs, or at least the farming dinosaurs, felt like giant kids' drawings, which I guess is part of the appeal, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the idea of having a cave boy as a pet, I thought was very clever, but it didn't quite resonate. Clever premises aren't enough, I think.
I haven't seen it since the cinemas, and honestly, I'm drawing a blank on it. I really am.
That's what I find. There's some bits in it that I really think are good, but most of the time it's like a blank. I'm a bit like that with Finding Dory. Oh, that's right, Hank the octopus.
Yeah.
How could I forget? The rest of the film just sinks it.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Dave? Is there anything that's a diamond in the rough?
No, seriously, I'm just falling into the very basic category at this time. There's no real diamond in the rough to me. There's no real.
No, it's either doing really well or it self-destructs.
Yeah, I'm really feeling like the generic.
Pixar films have too high an expectation to survive not being okay.
Ooh.
Well, I do. I mean, they've got a high bar to clear. If they don't clear it, that's a long way down. It's when I look at Pixar failures, I'm thinking of like Cars and Planes and the sequels. And
so I guess we are. Let's bring it back to the topic. We were talking about the rise and fall of Pixar. So as far as the fall of Pixar, we seem to say, well, it's still going.
It's not I don't see it as a fall. I just see it as they're normalized a little bit, and they're no longer in a pioneering field. So it's harder to be the debutante all your life. But they're maintaining a good level of films.
Yeah. So they're producing good level of films. Would you say that's a drop down from the masterpieces they were doing initially, or
for sure? I haven't seen Luca yet. Soul definitely had some moments and some attributes to it. Coco would definitely be a classic.
Coco is great.
Yeah, Coco's great. Turning Red is pretty damn good.
Top three, Linz. Top three. What's your top three Pixar films?
Oh, Jesus. Like, which child would you like to take off to experiments? I have a cloud of favorite Pixar films. So things like The Incredibles and and the original Toy Story for what it is. Even A Bug's Life to a certain extent, although I didn't think it was as amazing as Toy Story when it first came out.
Bug's Life is often panned, and generally, like when you look at lists of Pixar films, it appears in the low end quite a bit, and I'm really surprised by that.
Toy Story 3, I thought, was a high watermark.
Yeah.
Odd for a third sequel, but the second sequel, I mean. Inside Out was a good one. Brave was a good one. Some things in Brave ticked me off, like the witch annoyed me. No, it was just the way she was covered. The fact that she was a wise woman in the woods didn't bother me. It was the way they treated her in the film as a character that I thought, hang on, this feels a bit trite. It's sort of avoiding issues here. Not Ratatouille. Wall-E, I think so, because I'm a bit of a sci-fi nerd. But there were aspects of Wall-E that did tick me off a little bit. But overall, it was sort of on the mark. I think where it ended up was a bit infuriating. Because it had this whole premise, this whole ecological premise, and then essentially did a 180 on it. Which felt like a cop-out, not a conscious decision. Because, a lot of those ecological disaster flicks from the 70s, I remember, set in space, had very unhappy endings, and suddenly there's one here that's not only doing a 180, it's sort of validating and justifying the existence of the Disney merchandising department, which I could see would be one of the contributing factors to the destroyed world of Wall-E.
What was the name of the sci-fi film we watched, David, which was robots in a biodome?
Silent Running.
Silent Running! Oh, yeah.
Is that the one with the amputees playing the robots?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
Still some of the best robots.
Oh, it's the guy who did the special effects for 2001 and Blade Runner.
Yeah,
What's his name? Oh, God. Names. Yes. It's Close Encounters UFOs. Come on. Oh, I'm going to have to look it up.
Okay, standout films, David. Standout films.
Standout films, no order. Toy Story 3. Gonna have to go with Incredibles and Inside Out. So, as I said, I'm very generic.
I'm going to, because Brave is my favorite Pixar movie. I'll say.
Yeah.
Incredibles. You can't I'd put Incredibles at the top of the list.
It's definitely the top 3
of every taking out my own personal flavor. Brave would be on top if it was just me. But if I'm thinking generic audience, Incredibles is definitely the best Pixar.
Yes.
So Brave, Incredibles, and Turning Red. Inside Out's definitely good.
Definitely. That's in the top 5.
Is there? Does anyone know any reason why there was a 10-14 year gap between Incredibles 1 and 2? Was it just one and done? Was it always a plan, or?
It either comes down to Brad Bird didn't have an idea, or
I think that's what it was.
Lasseter wanted to make another Cars movie.
More than likely. The Cars, quote, franchise, unquote, is definitely the boss going on a road trip with his kids and thinking, I had a holiday in the car, and you know what? We should make a film about cars. And thus, the boss's idea on holidays was born. That's what Cars is, essentially.
It's built around that motor racing thing that Americans have, that Daytona stuff.
Daytona, the world's most monotonous race.
Just around a circle, turning left all the time.
For hours and hours, a bonnet.
No, Tanya, you're not getting it. It's a psychological battle as the racers push up against each other and try to jostle for position in a really, really tight field of cars. Yeah.
I have an answer to that, and I'm not a rev head by any means, and I hate motorsports, but Phillip Island. It's like Phillip Island. What's the name of the race on that one? Oh my god!
What is it?
Mount
Panorama. The name is Bathurst.
Bathurst. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Now that's a car race.
And if he was watching, my cousin Rob would be so proud of me right now.
Very good. Honor is restored to the Beeson household.
It needs David Carradine driving a sportsmobile in a Roger Corman film to be a proper
sportsmobile.
Yeah, watching Daytona is like watching the America's Cup these days. It's such a contrived, rarefied thing now that it doesn't even feel like boats on water anymore. It just feels like this high-tech things with these. You know how you get dog shows where the rules get so refined and they end up generating weird dog breeds that get stranger and stranger just to fit the weird and odd rules they've got for that competition. That's the America's Cup, and that's Daytona. If you want to see an actual boat race, you go and watch the Sydney to Hobart race. Here we are.
Wouldn't you say that is American sport in general, though?
Well, pretty much. They've all been heavily marketed, televised, and pretty much bred for commercial experiments, really. Whatever the original
the audience know, we have no right talking about this.
No, this is true. We have quote no skin in the game.
We have literally no skin in the game.
But Sydney to Hobart would be the great race, and Bathurst would be the equivalent of the car equivalent. And both those cases, you're either up against the elements or you're in something that's not just a straight line. So, I don't feel in any way, shape, or form intimidated by saying that Daytona's insanely boring because it's literally going in a frickin' circle. Sorry, an oval. Oh, sorry, a kind of stretched lozenge-shaped track. So occasionally it gets interesting where they go onto the straight bit, where it's just perfectly symmetrical. Then they turn left again. It's amazing. All this variety must drive the punters mad. But yeah, it's like, why? Must be like cricket. You just tune in, tune out. You know what I mean?
True.
You can listen to it in an armchair or driving to work or something like that and not care. Anyway.
I have a question. Why in all our conversation tonight we have not mentioned Monsters, Inc.?
Oh, yeah. You're right. We didn't. Why is that?
From neither the good or the bad.
Would we say that Monsters, Inc. is kind of the level, bar of Pixar?
It's simply the median.
It's a great film. It's
not bad.
Is it the median or the mean? I can't remember which one. Yeah.
You're right. We didn't even cross my mind. You didn't have it in a little picture. That's why I forgot it.
I didn't have I didn't have Incredibles in that little picture either.
No, we got them. But they're pretty distinctive.
Yeah.
Monsters, Inc.
Monsters, Inc. It's great.
It's pretty good.
And also one of the worst films if you count Monsters University.
Yeah, that was a bit forgettable. Like, why? Why are we doing this? Yeah, because in a sense, Monsters, Inc. provided lots of memes. It hit the pop culture pretty well. Did well for itself.
I am going to watch Elemental at some point.
That's kind of forgettable too. It's okay, but again, it's like, it's all right, but it felt a bit Disney, a bit shallow. It's
funny thing you should say that.
It's really talking about the migrant experience, and I don't feel like I'm getting the migrant experience here. Or if we did, it's from 70 years ago or 100 years ago. It's not the current migrant experience.
Though we're too white to talk about that.
Exactly right. So again, I'll shut up now. So who cares what I think?
My Anglo-Saxon blood is currently throwing spears across Hadrian's Wall at Dave's.
Meow. Yeah. No, I could see what I was sort of getting at, but yeah, it's like, again, it felt like there's some really great moments in there, but they seem to rely too much on some disasters to save the day, and it's like, and a bit of twee magic to make it go further. It's like, yeah, it looks visually very nice, but I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. So I kept waiting for it to start, essentially. Sorry.
Go on.
It's a bit like The Good Dinosaur. Great premise, intelligent idea, doesn't quite follow through the rest of the film.
I'm prepared to concede the thought that Pixar hasn't really had a fall, but it's definitely fallen from its lofty heights.
Well, it's what's the word? Not plateaued out. It's mellowed out a little bit. Like I say, you can't be a debutante forever. And when they were inventing the field as they were doing it, and now it's all been invented. What to do now? There are no new frontiers to crazily invent or break. You now have to work with what you've got. Consolidate, I guess. I guess they're consolidating.
Is it still the leader, considering everyone's mimicking the Sony studios at the moment? Is it like, is DreamWorks or Illumination at their level yet? Like, I've Illumination, maybe not. Like, they released another Minions, and I'm gonna self.
But some of the actual Despicable Me stuff felt like 1960s cartoon caricatures.
Yeah,
and I thought they were actually pretty cool as films. I mean, they're very much aiming for the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
So if Pixar made a film like that, we'd all think, well, that's it for Pixar. Goodbye. But, they these guys
Yeah.
were quite happily at that level, and they've found their niche. Yeah, I thought the Despicable Me films were much more interesting. But
Yeah.
the Minions were clearly a spin-off, or they're clearly the kids carefully bred for scientific experiments, and
They're Illumination's equivalent to the Penguins.
yeah, exactly right. Except I like the Penguins better. In fact, I like the TV show, The Penguins of Madagascar. Actually, it's quite funny. It's a good cartoon. It's like Kung Fu Panda's cartoons, consistently high level as well.
Like I think DreamWorks is the working competitor for Pixar.
I think so. I think they seem to churn out a lot of stuff at a pretty decent level consistently.
Yeah.
That's,
But they're sort of reliant on their franchises even more so than Pixar have been.
definitely,
As I said, I really feel like everyone's reliant on franchises.
except Pixar.
Yeah.
And to a lesser extent Disney. But Disney's bought all their franchises, so they can afford to be a little original occasionally.
True. What do we got coming out from Disney as the 3D stuff at the same time?
God,
So-
I didn't even look.
So Disney's 3D films go from like Disney's Dinosaur through Meet the Robinson, Chicken Little, Bolt, and then you start getting things like
Oh, that's right. That's what they're doing. They're doing
Frozen.
Mona 2 and Inside Out 2 and Mufasa, the Lion King.
So
So it's all sequels.
Mufasa.
Hang on, Elio, what's that? Oh, that's
this is the one.
Yeah, it's Pixar. It's an 11-year-old child becomes ambassador for Earth in a weird space sort of first contact situation.
right. Okay, cool. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Disney stuff is definitely putting a retread on their current crop.
But the original Disney stuff that appeared in there, like Tangled and Frozen, and Zootopia, amazing.
The
films.
Zootopia is the most Pixar of the Disney films,
Yeah, really is.
in the sense of how it explores its idea. The only thing that spoils it at the end is the stupid twist where the villain is revealed. And I was thinking, really? That's so lazy. But up to that point, it was firing on all cylinders.
I really like it. I really like it.
I liked it,
Really
but I
a
thought they
twist.
handled it. I think they handled it pretty badly. I think they could have handled it a lot better, considering how seamless everything else was. Just the fox and the rabbit's relationship is freaking first rate.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. They're working on Zootopia too.
Oh, really?
As far as I'm
Okay.
aware. Or they have been talking about it for a little while. So that'll be interesting to see.
Has there been a good film noir sequel ever?
Film noir sequel.
Oh, yeah, and Zootopia is cartoon film noir in many ways.
Yeah, I guess. That's like saying Wreck-It Ralph is by going into the dark web. But
There we go. Okay. Right. Okay. Wreck-It Ralph definitely sits among those good CG films that Disney created, which went Pixar. And then Ralph wrecks the internet, which feels like it kind of relies on the one joke of the Disney princess room.
And the rest of it is like how wonderful Disney products are online, and you shouldn't really not trust them.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't trust this film's treatment of the web, and I don't trust that character that deals with the hits. Who's that Facebook creature? It's like, she should have been the villain, not the helping hand and hero. It's like, nah, I'm not buying this. This is not something I'd let any kids watch. This is a bit too dangerous. It's it's like the helping hero is the little algorithm that sits on your shoulder and dobs you into the corporates.
Interesting thing of news that I heard about, forgot to add into our list of news. Some of British classic animations, like Watership Down, got moved across from being G-rated to being PG now.
What? And not M? What?
There's I'm not surprised
No,
that it's happened,
I
but
thought
I'm
that was-
surprised that it's taken this long for it to happen.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Like, there's
Yeah.
some pretty graphic deaths
Oh.
in Watership Down. Like,
Didn't Watership Down effectively invent, what do they call it? The woodland animal genre? Talking animals, being animals.
animals of farthing wood and stuff like that. Yeah.
Farthingwood, that's the one.
Yeah.
Sorry, I take it all back. Yeah.
Yes. So, look, I've moved us forward to the last slide with that
Sounds good to me.
little tidbit of information. So, thank you for debating with me over
Tricky.
over
Tricky.
Pixar. I did, definitely some interesting films that they've made, and there's some rather abominable ones.
Hmm.
But I think there's definitely some taste things going on in terms of what I like compared to what a lot of people like.
Yeah, I think with Pixar, people have different expectations to it than from other firms. So I think it tends. I think if like I say, if they put out a Minions, for example, we'd write them off. But that's pretty much par for the course for a lot of other firms, because we sort of expect Pixar to be a world leader and an original every time. So when they put out a sequel, there's always, oh, really, a sequel? What?
Yeah, it still does have that brand name recognition and that sort of.
I think the are they doing a new Minions film, which is Minions: Rise of Gru? It's a prequel.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been following it. Like I say, I don't mind the Despicable Me films, but the Minions I can do without.
What's coming up from DreamWorks? I have absolutely no idea.
Aren't they doing another Kung Fu Panda or something?
Yeah, Kung Fu Panda 4.
Very soon.
You've got an invite for it, Tanya.
It's true. I will see that one. But yeah.
Oh. How to Train Your Dragon and the Wild Robot.
What?
Ah,
How to
The
Train Your
Wild
Dragon.
Robot. And How to Train Your Dragon, 225.
What?
Is that the live action version or new?
That's what I was thinking. Hang on. I think you're right. It is the live action version.
Okay, so what's recently out? Orion and the Dark. There's a Megamind series.
Oh.
Kung Fu Panda 4.
Uh-huh.
Trolls.
Trolls aren't too bad.
Yeah.
I didn't see the Trolls. Gabby's Dollhouse. Okay. TV series. Yeah. So there's a Peacock series, Megamind Rules, which looks to be, and Orion in the Dark, which I haven't seen yet. I should check it out. But interestingly, yeah, we are in a glut of animation at the moment. It is the golden age of animation, but it's kind of it's gold, but it's gold wrapping around, very fattening chocolate.
Yeah, I think we're on the downward slide to that because of the sort of the streaming boom that we've experienced at the moment. We're starting to see that settle down. They're in an environment and they're megafauna, and there's just not enough resources going around. So there's going to be changes and dying off, I suspect.
So plenty to keep us when it all falls flat. We'll have lots of leftover animations to watch.
True. Okay, folks, I think we should sign off there. So
Yeah,
Down note, yes.
I think so.
yeah, just
Sounds good to me.
just kill it. Anyway,
All right.
so it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from them. Catch you later.
See ya.
Yeah.
Cool. Ending stream. There we go.